What's up, peeps? I'm from Group 6 and I'm Margonet. I'm the Lacerna. And I welcome you to Contracts Made Easy. So in our previous topics, I discussed about the provision of contracts, the general provision of contracts. And the next we discussed about vices of consent. And now we talk about voidable contracts. So in voidable contracts, I will be able to discuss Articles 1398 to Articles 1402. And we also have another topic, which is unenforceable contracts, in which I will be able to discuss Articles 1403 and Articles 1404. So in voidable contracts, let's discuss everything that I'm designed with. This is Articles 1398 to Article 1402. So what is the provision in Article 1398? Article 1398 provided that an obligation having been annulled, the contracting parties shall restore to each other the thing which have been the subject matter of the contract, with their fruits and the price with its interest, except in cases provided by law in obligations to render service. The value thereof shall be the basis for damages. So this is the provision when this article talks about mutual restitution. Suppose that the contract is not yet fulfilled, then the parties are excused from performing their obligation. On the other hand, if the contract is fulfilled, then there is mutual restitution. So the purpose of rescission is also the same with that of mutual restitution. So what is mutual restitution? Mutual restitution is defined as bringing the parties back to their original status prior to the inception of the contract. So what is the effect of mutual restitution? So first, if the contract is annulled, the parties, as a general rule, must restore first the subject matter of the contract with the fruits and price with its interest. So what if it is an obligation to render service or personal obligation? So in personal obligation, where service is already done, the value thereof, including the corresponding interest, will be the basis for damages recoverable from the benefited party. Next is we have Article 1399. Article 1399 provides that when the defect of the contract consists in the incapacity of one of the parties, the incapacitated person is not obliged to make any restitution except insofar as he has been benefited by the thing or price received by him. So this provision is an exception of the general rule of mutual restitution. This article is fairly easy to understand. It simply means that the incapacitated person to give consent is not obliged to make restitution, but the contracting party is still bound to return what he has received regardless if he was benefited or not. However, there is an exception here. That is, if he is benefited by the thing or price received by him, meaning if he's benefited, he is obliged to return what he has received only to the extent of his benefits. But before that, the other party has the burden of proof to prove that the incapacitated person was really benefited. So next is we have Article 1400. It provides that whenever the person obliged by the decree of annulment to return the thing cannot do so because it has been lost through his fault, he shall return the fruits received and the value of the thing at the same time of the loss with interest from the same date. So this is the provision when mutual restitution is in effect, but the thing to be returned is lost. There are two scenarios, which are thing lost through the fault of the person and thing lost without the fault of the person. So first, what should be done if it is thing lost through the fault of the person? So he shall return the fruits received, value of the thing at the time of loss, and interest from the same date. So what if it is a thing lost without the fault of the person. Simply, there is no obligation to return the thing. So next is we have Article 1401. Article 1401 provides that the action for annulment of contracts shall be extinguished when the thing which is the object thereof is lost through the fraud or fault of the person who has a right to institute the proceedings. If the right of action is based upon the incapacity of any one of the contracting parties, the loss of the thing shall not be an obstacle to the success of the action, unless said loss took place through the fraud or fault of the plaintiff. So first paragraph of the article simply means that the person who has the right to apply for annulment will not be able to return the thing due to his fraud or fault. In case of annulment, his right to institute action for annulment is extinguished. It is as simple as that. And the second paragraph is the right of action based upon the incapacity of any one of the contracting parties. So second paragraph simply means that whether the right of action is based upon the incapacity or not, the rule will still be the same as stated in the first paragraph. And lastly, we have Article 1402. It provides that as long as one of the contracting parties does not restore what in virtue of the decree of annulment he is bound to return, the other cannot be compelled to comply with what is incumbent upon him. Again, this articles that I have discussed is easy to understand. So first, this article talks about the reciprocal obligation of restitution if contract is annulled. So if the party cannot restore what he is obliged to restore, then he cannot compel the other party to restore the thing which he is obliged to restore. So that's all. That's all there is to it in this article. So next, in my next video, I will be discussing the unenforceable contracts, which will be Article 1403 and also Article 1404. So stay tuned.